I'm Raza.
I'm Bailey, and this is Marching into Madness,
Our monthly news roundup.
So we're doing this to give you a breakdown of what's been going on in the world for the month of July 2020. The first Monday of every month, we want to give you like a succinct wrap-up of what's going on in the world. The news moves so quickly, we wanted to give you like a good breakdown of what's going on in the moment so that you can remember like what happened like 2 weeks ago.
Or yesterday.
I know.
Well, what the most important thing was, how was your July?
Tumultuous is the best word for it, I would say.
Yeah? Explain to the viewers why it was tumultuous.
It's very complicated to be a media person.
Oh, yeah.
And entrepreneur when you lose all your clients. So,
all at once. How'd you manage that?
I'm doing this video.
Oh.
How about you?
It was good. Hung out, got some Z's. Work was good, keeping it real. It was good. Made some friends. Learned a lot about myself. Thank you for
You're welcome.
asking. Yeah. I'm a very shallow person. I've come to that conclusion.
Oh yeah. I'm not surprised
I'm if a kiddie pool was a. Does that sound right? Okay, I'm the shallow end of a pool.
There you go. That's a better way to put it. Stub your toes very easily on you. Starting things off, back when Rona was starting off, Trump started $1 trillion fund to help out struggling businesses in the United States. This was cool and all, but the public was a touch worried that this fund would only benefit Trumpito's BFFs and the various corrupt hooligans associated with the Republican Party. So, funny enough, it wasn't just them, but rather a whole stack of people on the other side, like the former Obama aide David Bossy, Nancy Pelosi's husband, and the Ayn Rand Institute. So as we dug deeper, the benefactors range in levels of oddity. My favorite pastor and least favorite presidential candidate, Kanye West. Scientology, an organization which literally demands servitude, Soho House rich people clubs, and various sects within the Catholic Church. And that's only to name a few.
Included in the government cheese recipients of business tied to Elmo and Law.
The Vice President first asked me to help on the task force with different tasks. I asked the President what he expected from the task force and how I can best serve him and the task force.
Also, Jared Kushner, as predicted, various Republican Congress members. Oh, and all the funds were American taxpayer money. Along with that, Trump also donated money to elite schools where his son will be at attendance, somewhere to the tune of $2 to $5 million at the St. Andrews School, where Barron Trump is currently at. Additionally, $5 to $10 million to the Sidwell Friends High School, where both Obama's daughters went to and graduated. Jared Kushner, or Elmo's former media company, Observer Media, which is a publishing company, which he left to take the position in Trump's administration, received $350,000 to $100 million. Imagine that wealth. Greed of politics is quite hilarious.
Yeah, they all tie together.
Yeah.
Ugh. In June, the Department of Financial Services said the Deutsche Bank engaged with sex offender and quite definitely human trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The $150 million settlement, which the department called out as suspicious, regularly transacted through his account, even though Epstein was labeled as a high-risk person. So, tips for models, household expenses, and the dollar amounts of hundreds of thousands at a time were moved in and out of the account. So, quote,
he called them
trying to be a YouTuber. Sources say the bank opened his account in 2013, and over the next 5 years, no one batted an eye at the nature of his transactions. According to the settlement of the case, Epstein met with 2 top officials of the bank, and they didn't ask any questions about the nature of his banking. This raises further concerns of collusions with rich people as more details of the case are released. It's unbelievable to see how many of these multimillionaires were really that down with Jared from Subway.
Oh. Brazilian President Jair Bolsanaro caught Rona. After months of downplaying the virus, karma caught up to our mans, and in a very ironic turn of events. In a televised announcement, Bolsanaro revealed that the results himself, saying everyone knew that it would reach a considerable part of the population. Sooner or later, it was me. On Sunday, I wasn't feeling very well. On Monday, it got worse and I started feeling tired and some muscle pain. I also had a 38-degree fever. Given those symptoms, the presidential doctor said they were suspicious of the virus, Bolsonaro said, adding that the hospital went to the hospital to receive a lung scan. His wife was also tested, with the results, I'm pretty sure, negative. It started getting all fun watching all these strong men have some sort of kryptonite.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, calm down, buddy. Bolson Buttface quickly backtracked on saying it's akin to a little flu. We know the fatality of the virus for those of a certain age, like me, above 65, as well as for those with Bombardier disease and other issues. In those cases, the virus could not be decisive and lead to death, and everyone knew that, right? So this would be the third time getting the virus. Third time.
I was not dead yet.
Oh my God. So, although by the end of July you would do another test and this time it would turn up negative, guess we're fortunate.
I guess so. Trump's longtime ally and former advisor, Roger Stone's sentence has been moved up, but surprisingly not pardoned. This move comes after a court denied Stone's 40-month SART delay. He was found guilty of lying to Congress and obstructing justice. Roger Stone is the sixth Trump associate to be charged with relation to colluding with Russia. On a tweet, Madam Trump said, Roger Stone was targeted by an illegal witch hunt that should have never have taken place, with the White House echoing, a victim of the Russian hoax that the left and its allies in the media perpetuated for years in an attempt to undermine Trump's presidency. Remember Robert Mueller?
Yeah.
All right. It is said that those in his queue, Mueller had a personal vendetta against Stone, and that this was his attempt to smear dear Stone for something he did.
No. China has yet again been accused of crimes against humanity towards its Muslim population and other minority groups. The vastness of this is hard to condense into a single factoid, so you know what? Do some Googles,
please.
Bro.
Yeah.
All right, so think terrible oppression tactics and literally a genocide. Tensions are rising between the global superpowers, and with the global market destabilization that we are experiencing, China is taking advantage of the opportunity to start making moves, bro. All right, so as a result, the US has placed sanctions on top officials of the Communist Party of China, like the regional head of Chen and 3 other officials. This is notable because Chen sits on China's Communist Party Politburo, and you don't want to make them grumpy.
A Politburo is a policy-making arm of Communist Party. This Politburo has no civilian input when creating policies. In this case, within the People's Republic of China's party, which oversees the entire Communist Party of China. This is essentially like taking a jab at a Western senator.
But unlike in other communist countries, this Politburo's boots are made for walking, and they are ready to insert your own stomping and oppressions. Ow! There you go. Chen, along with other officials, have their US-based finances and assets frozen, which is a tumultuous choice when you even ponder how much money that could be. So he's being targeted because it is his policies specifically that are being used against the minorities in China, and he's also responsible for China's move into Tibet. Yeah, you remember that? Like why the Dalai Lama can't go back home?
Don't check your phone. Do not check your phone.
The United States will not stand idly by as the CCP carries out human rights abuses targeting the Uyghurs, ethnic Kazakhs, and members of other minority groups in Xinjiang. Mike Pompeo said, which is ironic because it looks at what's going on in the United States critically in their own lens.
Jeffrey Epstein's girl, Ghislaine Maxwell, you know Joker and Harley Quinn. Well, Harley Quinn has been charged and arrested last month. She's accused of helping recruit underage girls with the intent to groom and, of course, abuse them. If she were to be acquitted, this would bring to light the likely legitimacy of what Epstein used to do with his rich pals and billionaires and politicians. The only years in question here, 94 to 97, which is weird. In a report, she would build a relationship with them, take them out shopping, watch movies with them, and in return, they would give Epstein a massage. And I don't think we need to say the rest. Check out these two charges though. Conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal act, enticing a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex act, conspiracy to transport minors with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, transporting minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. With each of these charges carry at least 5 years, bro. The weird part about it is that she would build a relationship with her victim, so sex and talking about sex would seem normal to a minor. Very heavy, but evidence points to this being the jumping off point for Epstein's businesses. I got a foot cramp.
Amy Cooper, A.K.A. Karen, is facing charges of filing a false police report. Back in early July, a white Karen, even though all of them are, got scared when she saw a black man who was bird watching.
Sorry, I'm asking you to stop.
Calling 911, she claimed she felt unsafe and emphasized his race for some reason. Putting things into context, before this whole incident happened, Amy Cooper had her dog unleashed running around. Bird watching. Christian Cooper asked if she could put it on a leash. She refused while being wild disrespectful to her dog, alright? So the video has circulated at least 14 million times and I'm pretty sure she lost her job at Google.
As we are holding on to a CAREN popularity contest, San Francisco became the first city to pass a bill appropriately called the CAREN Act. Caution against racially exploitative non-emergencies. This bill is in response of all the racial false 911 calls, and stats doing so will be punished. Filling out a false report is already a crime, but the CAREN Act would target specifically people calling for race reasons.
Watermelon snow sounds pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
It may sound and look cool, but it's a pretty bad sign for climate change, to be honest.
Yeah.
So watermelon snow appears reddish, but that means there's snowy algae within it. Freshwater algae, in contrast, is warmer, adding blue and green tints to your water, but snow algae can be found in colder temperatures where the organism thrives. Its red pigmentation in mass is what changes the color of the snow or water, all that, right? So scientists are worried that this is appearing in the Alps, the fucking Alps.
Yeah.
So because red absorbs light better, well, when more sunlight hits the snow, it melts faster and more red algae. This wasn't the first time this happened. A British Arctic survey found green snow in, you guessed it, the Arctic.
The NFL team in Washington has renamed their team to the Foreskins. I'm not kidding around.
Yeah.
But they're changing the name to much less alluring, the Washington football team. That's even better. This comes after what they claim was a thorough investigation as to if the former name of the team was problematic, because we definitely needed an investigation for that answer. How stupid can we be?
I know.
As the protests heated up, the people turned to recent NFL racial tensions with a new lens. The spotlight was immediately pointed here. Well, that, and like Cap was right? Owner Daniel Snyder and Ron Rivera the Great are working on a new design to honor both the military and Native Americans. Funny side of the story is that one of the issues with why they couldn't find a new name because someone copyright sniped them. Every possible name you could think of was available for an alternative, was copyrighted, and the domain was bought. The domain.
Washington this, Washington that, and all that. The Columbian cartel is taking the health and safety of its citizens seriously. Well, health, not so much safety. But
why are you laughing?
The Guardian reported that the cartel is killing people for not following the country's lockdown orders. Jesus. According to the Human Rights Watch, Quote, they've killed at least 8 people who disobeyed the drug and rebel group's self-imposed lockdown rule. In Tumaco, a port city that is very violent, it has its citizens banned by the gang, so that's no working, no food, and no way to earn money. All right? So elsewhere, gang members are not allowing anyone at all to leave their homes, even if it's for hospital needs. Some places have reported that the gangs are burning stuff to show how serious they are and that they will hurt anyone not following the rules.
See these masks? We're gonna burn these. Fuck you.
So bully tactics or extreme healthcare protocols.
You watched our last video, right? We have been having whales in our roundup for some reason. This time it was a beluga whale, and it was spotted in Newfoundland. It's not every day you're met with this massive meat, but when you see these crazy sea frogs, you want to remember it. A Newfoundland woman was just kayaking, and this white piece of shit was swimming underneath her. According to the woman, the best part of it was when it looked right at her as it swam under the kayak.
Oh my lord, I'm going for a ride. Here we go. Holy shit.
If it were me, I would ask this whale, what taxes does it pay and why is it in that person's space, and then I'd find it. That's why it's on the endangered list.
If you get COVID while traveling, Dubai-based flying company Air Emirates has your back. So not we, have a new plan to help passengers flying during the pandemic in the form of care and hospitality. The airline will cover up to $176,000 for medical expenses and $118 per day for 2 weeks for things such as hotel rooms. And if the worst were to happen, like untimely death, the airline only values your life at $7,000.
I saw the numbers like, that's kind of low.
The coverage begins now and ends on October 31st and starts from the moment you take your first flight and extends even if you're traveling to a different city. Testing costs, however, are not covered by the airline. Passengers should contact Air Emirates before paying for that test and get your money. By the way, this is only with Air Emirates, so don't go trying to do this shit with Air Canada or any of those flying companies with like Rona businesses, you know?
Yeah. Hip-hop visionary and lyrical motherfucking genius, Kanye West.
I don't need anyone telling me play on words. I'm a motherfucking lyrical wordsmith, motherfucking genius.
Threw down the MAGA hat to put his name in a bid for president in 2020. If 2020 wasn't already off in the deep end, we must now realize that the promise of America by trusting God. You're unifying our vision and building our future. I'm running for the president of the United States. He said, confirming his run in a tweet, getting immediate support from his wife, Kim Kardashian, and tech guy, Elon Musk. Kanye quickly descended into madness.
And me.
This wasn't the first time he went all in. Back in 2015, he went on and said, it's about ideas, bro, new ideas, people with ideas, people who believe in truth. And yes, as you could probably have guessed, by this moment, I have decided in 2020 to run for motherfucking president. And then he doubled down on his popularity contest by holding a last-minute campaign rally in South Carolina, where he was in a manic state while spitting some controversial rhetoric. His plan, a parenthood plan, a radical ideas for reparation, saying Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves. She just sent them to work with other white people. You said.
Hotep yay, out here to save the country, bro. Since being a polarizing figure in the media by aligning himself with the Cheeto-in-Chief and other previous racially ignorant statements, like saying slavery was a choice, the rabbit hole got so deep people were simply surprised that Ye stopped supporting Trumpito at all. Although some may remember that back in November he said he'll run in 2024. But back at his SC rally, he also announced that he's going to drop a new album, God's Country or Donda or TurboGrafx or whatever the name is now. Jesus. So this brought into question the honesty behind the campaign, as these flare-ups tend to happen during Yeezy season, right? Of course, no album yet. Quick conspiracy, and then we'll restart. I'm gonna keep this shit going. So Mr. Kanye, okay, he caught the Rona in February, right? There's been evidence that he caught the Rona in February.
Yeah.
So The only reason he's running for president now is because it like became a personal issue to him. Because
true.
he caught the Rona, and then he went, "Oh wow, Trump really does suck because it's so hard to get help." And he had an existential crisis and had that break, and that's why he ran. He only ran for president because it affected him
But
personally.
what about Tom Hanks?
But he's not like he's homies with him. But
No, but he just dipped now. He's now a citizen of Greece.
yeah.
So people are jumping ship.
Yeah, because it was affected them,
Yeah, that's okay.
right? That's the only reason they stopped. So the only reason Kanye's actually doing some good is because Ye feels hurt.
So it's not actually good.
No.
He's just doing it because he's selfish. In very sad news, Naya Rivera, best known for her role as a cheerleader in the show Glee, died last month of an accidental drowning. News first broke when the 33-year-old went missing in a lake while she was on a boat trip with her son on Lake Piero in California. Her last seen location was with her son when he said that she pushed him back on the boat and she got submerged under the water.
That's sad.
After a long search for her ended with her untimely death, there was an outpour of support and sympathy from both co-stars and fans alike.
That is very
I
unfortunate.
know.
That's a sad tale. So, ambassador of biraciality and joiner Lucas Biter, Logic, has announced his retirement. Well, his retirement to Twitch more so, okay? So Joe Budden, washed up lyrical rapper and host of the highly rated Spotify exclusive hip hop commentary show, had some words. You should have retired years ago.
Duh.
Well, on his podcast, he continued going after Logic. Logic, you don't get to announce this. What the F is he talking about? Because we don't care. And even went on to say that people just don't care about him point blank, right? So no, they don't. They're happy that he's leaving. Okay, so since then, he's apologized. But, I mean, if you aren't regularly on Twitch or a white guy whose name you can spell with 5 letters or less, you probably don't give a fuck either.
Legendary boxer Mike Tyson has been cock-teasing us for about his upcoming fight for a charity event by posting workout videos and showing off his godlike figure, and I'm drooling. I'm proud of it. Now it all seems real, speculating Tyson, who is 53 by the way, will enter the ring in September against Roy Jones Jr., who's only 2 years younger than him. 2 years. Jones is also a legendary fighter with 66 wins out of 75 matches in his career. Mike is a big deal himself, only losing 6 matches in his career and winning 50, and he changed the whole fighting sport. Several months ago, while talking to a rapper T.I., Tyson basically said he's training for sort of something, and we know now what it is.
Yeah.
At the height of his career, Tyson was one of the best athletes at the time and arguably one of the best offensive boxers to ever compete. Everyone knew that every time he stepped into a ring, it would either be him winning by knockout or him winning within the first 30 seconds. Ironically enough, he lost his last match before retiring.
And I'm going to add this one, is Roy Jones Jr. was on an interview and they pulled the typical question of, oh, like, what if you die? What if you die in the ring? And then he was just like, I'm okay with that. And everyone was just stumped. They're like, what? And he's like, it's what I love. Like, I think if there's anywhere I die, I'm okay with dying in the boxing ring. And everyone's like, oh, well, all right, then I guess you can fight.
He's gonna YOLO it in there, so why not?
Exactly.
Right?
Now, for some real fighting words. Okay, so Golden State Warrior guard Nate Robinson wants to fight the YouTuber Jake Paul for, I don't know, reasons. So, did anyone ask for this?
I did.
But I don't know. Well, mostly Robinson has something to gain from it, I think. And I think Paul has a fighting pipe dream.
We're fucking getting the shit out of his kink. The popular social media, which is just a dumber version of Vine, TikTok may be shutting down. It is shutting down now. India has banned the app in the country because it is Chinese owned. And as tensions flare with China internationally, so does worry about the app being banned in the West. It is going to be banned in the West. Yeah. Now, Trump has signaled this shutting down in the States along with other threats to Chinese-owned apps. This has caused many TikTok celebrities to lose their collective minds. The inside influencer news is that this is raising concern with the users will begin to migrate their followers to other platforms like Instagram and YouTube. Good thing for us, since YouTube is kind of in Trump's good book, since they're okay with hate speech and they allow it on here.
Now back to my question to you.
You purport to be an objective journalist.
We love you though, YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
The American Air Force is getting ready to pick between two companies who will be providing them with the heavy-duty rockets for their next phase in the National Security Space Launch Program. The competition pits two of the biggest defense contractors that America has to offer against each other: Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
Who is South African, by the way.
So, the winner has to be picked sometime this summer. The competition began in 2018 with the Air Force, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop and Gunman, which all had a joint venture of around $2.3 billion to develop the next generation of rockets capable of carrying military spacecraft. Elon Musk's SpaceX is still in the competition, with their Falcon rocket already having capabilities to do things that are extremely unconventional, like catch its own materials at a very affordable cost, as well as near hours of slave labor.
And going to Jeffrey Epstein's island.
So phase 2 began last year with SpaceX joining, and now the tech domination of our economy has made it a race between them and Blue Origin. The winner will receive funding from now until the end of 2027, as well as the lucrative favoritism of the American military-industrial complex.
Jeff Bezos' rocket company Blue Origin has been tasked with restoring the Apollo site, where they launch dicks on a weekly basis. I want to go there. Blue Origin signed a deal with NASA last year to fix it up so they can use their site to test rockets. This move adds Bezos to the cool club of developing new space programs to challenge older companies like Boeing and the military contractors to truly flex on them. Blue Origins won't be able to launch rockets from the site until 2021, as upgrades are still being made on the site.
And the nerdiest news possible: car maker Mitsubishi has bought the commercial division of Bombardier. This Canadian company produces large-scale transportation, trains, planes,
automobiles,
many different aviation parts, but not automobiles. The Montreal-based company sold the division back in 2019 for $550 million and $200 million in liabilities. June 1st, 2020 actually marked the first day that the planes were owned by Mitsubishi and when they took to the skies, which is a very silent exodus when you consider all of those who are up in arms about car manufacturing not being homegrown anymore. Well, there are your jumbo jets. Bombardier, as it was created back during World War II, it actually created snowmobiles, and they grew into being one of the largest Canadian exporters. No mas in our homeland.
No mas. Late last month, the House of Representatives blocked a bill that would ban the military from recruiting, advertising via Twitch. War is not a game, says AOC, the bill's author.
And, quoting the Marines, the Marine Service brand and issues associated with combat are too serious to be gamified in a responsible manner. Now,
this bill would stop the military from using other streaming services for recruiting, because kids on that site, and hey, a UAV controller is pretty similar to an Xbox One controller.
Yeah.
Republicans voted against it, no shit, while Democrats were too busy being cucked to answer. Twitch stepped in when the military ran a fake contest directing people to a recruitment form, and lawyers from the Knights First Amendment Institute at Columbia University demanded the Army and Navy reverse bans on their Twitch channels against users who asked the U.S. about war crimes in the chats.
That's wild. Hell has frozen over when we have two stories on Logic, and I don't want to say either.
We're doing them.
Following his announcement of retirement, our Boy Scout is heading over to Twitch for live streaming. Having signed an exclusive deal with Logic for an undisclosed amount, the rapper will be one of the first musicians to be doing weekly streams, as well as he's something more than proving that he's just a white rapper. No, he says he wants to spend more time with his young son and streaming. It's both a way of connecting and doing less work.
Microsoft Xbox has announced that they'll be getting rid of the 12-month live service for things like playing online and going into parties with friends and deals on games. They have removed the option from the console, but you can still buy the cards physically at a store, for now at least. But players can still do a 3-month or 1 month, which can be expensive over the course of a year. Some speculate that the online for Xbox may be free and that the new console Xbox Series X may have free online alongside with the Xbox One. Another theory is that Microsoft could be combining the cost of Game Pass and Live to a cheaper price.
Finally, your dream, where you are now.
Right now, users can get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which comes with both the Live Series and Game Pass, the Netflix of gaming, for a monthly price of $16.99. So if these theories are true, Microsoft is pushing a service rather than a console, because xCloud, Microsoft's streaming service, will be available to play on devices rather than having a console. So ultimately, they're not concerned about people buying a console, but rather people buying it into their ecosystem of gaming, meaning Xbox things will be on non-Xbox things, like playing Halo on a phone or a Samsung fridge. And this fridge is about the screen.
So we just took a break, just finished the video, and already the news moved so quickly that like a few of our stories are outdated. So first,
TikTok has been banned in the United States supposedly on August 1st.
Yeah.
Today. Trump told reporters on Air Force One that he is banning the social media app, and a whole bunch of TikTok celebrities are now freaking out because they have lost their...
Yeah, I wanted to give a big rest in peace to Herman Cain. Another tragic passing, and especially in this divisive time about what to do about the Rona in the States.
Tell him how he died.
He died of catching the Rona just 9 days after attending a rally with Trump where no one was wearing masks.
Republican Party, bro.
And this gentleman had unfortunately survived stage 3 lung cancer just like 2 years prior.
Oh.
So sadly, Republicans are using that as a scapegoat, that he was already grateful and happy. He was already on borrowed time and shit. It's like this gross bastardization of probably a very uplifting message that he lived by, and they're turning it in as to an excuse of why he was traveling around and being so liberal with his Rona deal.
Because his life was already lived.
Yeah, because he was just living life to the fullest. So it was great that Herman was traveling, and it was his choice not to follow the Rona stuff.
Still sad though. My art condolences go out to his wife and if he has kids.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot more wacky things. The other quick stuff is that Trump really wants to try to shatter the basis of democracy by threatening to delay the election.
Oh yeah. On top of that, the irony is that yesterday, actually, well, I so late at night. Irony is that the White House is condemning Hong Kong for delaying their election for a year. Meanwhile, your boss is trying to delay your own election for a year.
Literally in the same.
So, I don't think the word irony gets used a lot in that administration.
Doesn't take you far enough.
Yeah.
But either way, we're going to keep coming at you every month with these updates. We want them first Monday every month. We want to be able to give you a quick, cohesive breakdown, and hopefully we will be more personable and more relatable as it goes on.
Yeah. And thank you for watching.
Sign on to our Discord. Follow us on everywhere. Feed us subscribers. If you want to go on one of those, like go to Fiverr. Okay, you type in YouTube subs. Okay. And then
for buying subs?
No, they're gonna buy us subs.
Oh, okay.
So that we don't have to.
Okay.
Okay. And then they're gonna find one of those guys, and one day I just wanna log into, like,
100.
A few hundred.
Yeah.
This is all I'm asking. It's a one-time purchase, and you're compromising your account, not mine. So it's okay.
Anyway, so if you want to do some sketchy stuff like that, go ahead. But hit us up. Our socials will be in the description. This area here. Hit the bell, subscribe, and we will see you again
first Monday. Well, every week now.
Every week, yeah. I was gonna say, aren't we doing this again?
Every week,
yeah.
And then the first Monday of every month for the news roundup, and we want you here every week.
Do you want to get your news late, or do you want to get it on the first day of the month? I would I would want to get on the first day of the month.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. Peace out, boys.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was good. That was good. Yeah.
All right, I'm quite happy with that.
It's wow. We actually. Hold hands.
Oh, you're sweaty. You're sweaty. You're sweaty.
Let's hold hands.
So I want to read it at a more natural speed, anyways.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.